Hi, and welcome to If These Heels Could Talk. I'm Georgina with Solutions by Georgina.
And I'm Michelle with Bad Cat Digital. And have we got a treat for you today?
We do. We have a special guest with us, a very, very special guest. We have Miss Leanne Riley. So tell us more about
Leanne Riley is a national coach and trainer of real estate and real estate investing made simple. She helps ambitious people build a step-by-step roadmap to a six-figure income by creating a real estate portfolio of winning, not losing, cash flow properties with her proven profit formula coaching program. Also a realtor, she leads the Encore investment team, helping people buy, sell, and invest from St. Cloud to Rochester, broker by Realty Group. So welcome, Leanne.
Hello, hello.
Thank you so much for joining us.
It's nice to have
So we will start and kick off with my favorite question, actually, the one that I find the most telling about people, which is what is your favorite shoe, brand, or style?
It is Picolinos.
What? I don't even know what those are.
Tell us more.
I was recently in Portugal in the original, where over there in Europe, Picolinos, and we found the store. It was a 2-hour adventure.
Wow.
And did you buy anything?
Yes, I did. Red, sort of high top type tennis shoes.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I've actually
That
seen
sounds
them.
amazing.
They're incredible. And they fit your foot really well. Like they're a good shoe, correct?
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah. When it comes to shoes, you're talking to a shoe fashionista here.
Hey, I know this brand. Schuler's has this brand.
Yes, they do.
Yes, they do.
You do not have to go all the way to Portugal to get this brand, but you can if you want to.
Well, it sounds like they have better ones in Portugal.
Probably.
They were cheaper, you guys.
I bet. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. So glad you found red high heel.
How did you find
sneakers.
that brand? Now I'm kind of curious. How did you?
I already knew the brand from here, from Schuler's. I already owned boots and everything. So when we were walking by the store, I was like, "Oh my god!"
Ah!
And my friend ended up buying some really cute white boot. Oh, way cool! Like I said,
very cool
adventure.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
I love it. So I'm going to start us off with the first question. What is one of the biggest trends you are seeing in your field? And I'm talking about real estate, but I'm also talking about that investment field that you're talking about, and new people getting into investment, because with the stock market tanking and
that's a big word.
Okay, with the stock market shifting in a lower direction. Thank you. Good iteration. With the stock market taking a shift in a more downward turn for a while.
Taking a shift, huh? Yeah. I'm glad you added the F.
I try.
Yes.
And with people, I think the new I'm noticing generations starting to ask more questions about how they're investing. Is that 401k the way they really want to be investing?
Is that the way to go?
So there's my big, long question of what are you kind of seeing in that world?
Well, you nailed it, because it is a shifting market in so many ways. You can even since COVID, take the work at home movement. People want to live further away. They can. And and then now you add the interest rates, which are rising. The feds keep raising them. And then there's an affordability crisis now. So then there's some incentives down there. It's very confusing for most people. So you need to be working with some sort of realtor professional that stays up with the trends on the market. They are changing so fast. So that's really important. And as an investor, here's the number one thing I teach. You have to know how to tell the difference between a good deal and a bad deal. And how you do that is it's a numbers game, folks. This is like playing Monopoly. You have to understand those numbers. Even as a first-time buyer, you got to get it about how much that's really going to cost you to live in that house.
I was just at a housing kind of presentation with the state of housing in Minnesota.
Yes.
And we are 90,000 housing units. So not just single family homes, but units.
Mhm.
So apartments, like every kind of housing available. We're 90,000 units behind.
Right, we're short.
Need.
Exactly.
Like we're short
Yeah.
90,000.
Yeah.
And 3 years ago, we were short 30,000.
And it's not looking,
it's not
the
letting up.
projection.
No,
is-
so this low inventory is not going away anytime soon. And you really
Anytime
have to
soon.
get that. Also, the population is aging
Yes.
and we live longer. So we're
And they're aging
inheriting
in
longer.
place.
Everything is turned upside down.
Yeah. They're aging in place. So that means like, because
Yeah.
usually the starter home would be the older home, not the new construction, kind of the older home that somebody would have aged out of.
Mhm.
Right. And so it's a bit of a more modest house because it's not as, it's not as
Right.
new, or it's not as
Right,
this,
right.
or it's not as that. But those are not coming on the market. So that drives that affordability change.
That adds to the
And then you have the
Interesting.
people in Gen Alpha who are now kind of 20 years old,
yep.
who are graduating from high school, who are going to college, who grew up after 2008.
Yeah. Oh,
So
interesting.
these kids that are coming into college now aren't interested in home ownership because they saw all of the volatility since
Mhm.
2008, and they're just like, I don't want a piece of that.
Mhm.
So it's really interesting what's going to happen. I don't know. But they were talking about, the reason I brought it up though, Leanne, is because I wanted to ask you about this as a follow-up. They were talking in that about the systemic barriers to development of more housing units. And they were talking about things like setbacks and easements that only require single family homes. So there's fewer duplexes or quadplexes being built. They were talking about HOAs and these agreements in terms of a neighborhood will only be built with 3-car garages, or these finish standards in certain neighborhoods and things that are making it so that people have to build houses that are $500,000, $750,000 to build.
Mhm.
And so then developers can't make any money on that house, so they're not
Right.
building them. So I wanted to ask Leanne, what do you see in terms of kind of systemic shifts that we could take to ease up the housing market a little
Well,
bit?
there's a lot of things. There's rehab going on, but take Minneapolis, St. Paul, for example. St. Paul instituted rent control of a sort. The worst one in the entire nation about a year and a half ago. That's affecting the building.
Mhm.
There's going to be a backlash for a long, long time. Minneapolis is talking about it. Nothing has happened yet. Suburbs, now you go out to the suburbs, they're instituting their own sort of, we don't want any more single family rentals. So Maple Grove, for example, put a moratorium on for a year. Then you go further out towards St. Cloud or Rochester or whatever. There, luckily, it's not really saturated yet on so many rules, but you're right. The rules to build are getting worse. The taxes are higher. It's harder and harder to develop now for anybody. So that again is going to make this inventory problem bigger, which raises housing prices. They're not going down anytime soon. Now that's good news for an investor in the sense of that means we're going to have plenty of renters.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's good news for an investor, but it's also good news for people who have houses now.
Yeah.
And bad news for people who are planning on buying in 5 years.
Yeah, you better hurry.
It's going to be harder and harder and harder.
Yeah, don't wait. Just because the interest rates are higher, that's why you need to know the right people. There's creative financing options out there. There really is.
Mhm. And a lot of really great programs for first-time home buyers.
Yeah.
There's whole neighborhoods where with these cool programs where you can get in with very little down payment.
Yes.
And there's really some cool stuff out there.
But like Leanne was saying, you kind of need some. It's
Like,
a
you need
whole
some
nother.
help. Yeah,
you
it's a
do
whole other world.
because it's a whole other world. It's a whole other language.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just make sure you work with some sort of professional who's up on what's going on, like I said.
Yeah.
One more thing I want to comment. Those millennials are pretty darn sharp, and they have figured out the cheapest way.
Yes, we are.
The least expensive way to get into being a real estate investor is called house hacking. That's where you buy even a single family home and you get roommates, or you buy the duplex, you live in one side, because you need less money down.
Right.
And they figured that out. And incidentally, it's made a difference in the investor profile because suddenly they've entered the market in floods, and they're taking a lot of the duplex inventory that used to be available.
Yeah. Well, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
So this expertise, is this what you see clients needing from you the most right now? Or is there something else that you're thinking, boy, this is what everybody's asking for?
Well, they're all asking the same question. Sure. A lot of people, like you said, the stock market is a problem. What do I do with my money? They want to be real estate investors, but they don't know how. And we all have our buddy YouTube and all sorts of places to look. But what happens is there's 10, 15 strategies to be an investor. And then you get all confused, and then you have analysis paralysis. So the biggest thing they need is the education. And that's why my coaching business is doing really well, because they kind of know and they want to do it. But guess what? We're all afraid, because you know why? It's the biggest amount of money we're going to put in on any one thing. So we're afraid to make the move.
Yeah.
So that's what I see out in the market, is people just begging for the education. Just please, somebody help steer me, and do it in a way that I can understand. I
was joking with somebody on Monday.
Yeah.
Because I said something in front of my lawyer about something that my accountant had said. And she just looked at me and she went, and I just turned to the other person I was talking to, and I'm like, yep, I could pay my lawyer and my accountant $700 an hour to fight with each other. Right. But that's the thing. Like, you get these like conflicting advice from good experts places, and coming from well-meaning professionals, because like there's one tax implication that somebody thinks is the most important thing, or some trust implication that somebody thinks is the most important thing, or some paperwork thing or liability thing or whatever. So an expert in just the thing that you're asking about is really, really super important.
And I think and yes, you're right. In real estate, you need a lawyer, you need an accountant, and they do have different stories.
And they fight.
But the point is, you have to know enough to take control, in the sense of, this is my strategy, this is what I need to do, and be able to carry that out with a little advice from here and here and here and here.
Right. Well, and I love how you say that, Leanne, because doesn't that just sound like entrepreneurial business ownership? Like that is, we were talking about it. Yeah.
You have to, because you have to know what you want to do so that you can even ask the right questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you do have to get an amount of information, but not so much that you're just like, I can't make a choice.
And actually, you nailed it, because this is what people need help with, that I do help them with. I help them nail a personal strategy, the one that works given their financial condition and their story. Because then, given that, then maybe you better be a house hacker if you only have a little money, or maybe you better, I can at least direct them. Okay, here's your alley. Now go down that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that helps. Thank you, Leanne. That's nice. As you look at your business and grow it and have this new, direction, it's just growing so much. I know in this particular direction, it's just really, really taken off. What do you kind of see in the future for your business and people's needs?
Well, what I'm working on is building team. Okay. Meaning I'm at the age where I have great ideas, but I don't want to carry it out anymore. I'm done with that. So me having the right team in place, I'm building passive income the same way as a real estate investor does, but I'm building it with my business. And by hiring the right team, I can lay back and run the orchestra.
Yeah.
And they can do all the daily things that have to happen to make it work. So building team is part of designing my life. So I'm not retiring, but I'm retiring in the fashion that for me, where, I can live with real freedom. I can go traveling in my RV and still work.
Sure.
I can make a contribution, is really doing what I love, but not working like a dog. I've done that. We've all done that.
Yeah, we've done that. Yeah, we've done that.
She already earned that badge.
Well, and the building a team thing, I kind of talk about it like creating value in the business that doesn't live inside of you.
Yes.
so that, if there is an end game to the business and you decide that it's, then it has value without you attached to it.
Absolutely. It's a system that someone else can run.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And I know you've been kind of doing that team thing more aggressively in the last couple of years. Like you have, up until then, she was similar to me, more solopreneur.
One-woman show.
Yes. Yep. And so do you wish you'd done that sooner? There's what I'm just going to.
You know what? Yes, that's the last question you were asking me.
Oh yeah, but if you've got more to expand on that, then
no, yeah, it's what's the one thing I wish that I had known a lot sooner, and it was to quit trying to build a business all by myself. It is too much work, and every time I had team people or added more, or take a team of realtors, just think about it. The way the market is right now, multiple offers and all that, if a client needs you and you got 4 of them and they all need you to show a house on Saturday, you're only one person. Right. You're giving up your life. With a team, we can all go on vacation because somebody out of us 5 is going to be around to help. Yeah. And that really freed up my life. And that's the same as any entrepreneur. Otherwise, you are every hat. And so that really is something to take note of. It's more fun to work with somebody and create together than all by yourself.
Well, and I think the thing that stands in a lot of ways, and one of the things I had to kind of learn and get out of my own way with, was that when you have a team, you're also inviting them in to help you create the vision of what the business is, because they're the great people are going to engage in the vision and direction of the business, and when you don't include them in that, they leave. And so and then the people that stay are the people who aren't engaged and who are going to also leave.
Right.
So that engaging in the vision and the direction of the business, it does mean letting go, letting up, letting things be what other people imagine them to be. And that, I think, is the hardest part. I don't think finding people is. I think trusting people and letting go is the hardest part. How did you navigate that? Do you feel like you've gotten there?
I have. And, I'm a coach, but here's the interesting part, or normal part maybe. I have coaches in 4 areas of my life, that I need to get me to that place. So I'm letting go and I'm living my best life. Otherwise, I wouldn't be where I am. I need someone to hold me up. Like right after this, I have my fitness trainer and my accountability call.
I love that. I love that. That's fantastic.
And I had one this morning with Joy, actually, because she handles PQ.
Yes,
I do. I do positive intelligence.
There you go. Absolutely.
We had a nice conversation.
Yeah.
I am going to go back to the last question. Is there one thing in your life that you wish not wish, but you wish you'd known a little sooner? You'd done some advice you'd give a younger person.
Yeah, I do have one more thing, and it's actually about something it's about our thinking around money, because myself, I've been a multimillionaire, and then I was broke, and then I've been back. And that's how most millionaires are. It can go up and down, and that's how life goes. And I think what I want to talk about is like, when that happens to all of us, when we're down or whatever, to be able to shake that mentality, that poverty, or, oh no, I'm not going to have enough, or I'll never find another client, or whatever it is, and really just live in the world of divine abundance in your head so you can let it in. And then the new ideas will come and the people will come and all of that. And if I only could have learned that sooner.
I can relate to that.
And I can definitely see there being a lot of emotion attached to having developed or built wealth and then losing wealth. And then having it be, a challenging path to get back on. Because there would be a lot of emotion involved in that. I wouldn't know. I've never built the thing
Oh, you're building the thing.
I'm
though.
building the
She's
thing.
building the thing.
But I'm building it. I have not built it yet.
Yeah, no, she's in building mode, which is that's good.
Yeah, well, you know,
I was just saying.
Well,
us
and
millennials.
it takes a team to drive the ship.
It
You know,
totally does.
if you're building a big business, you can do it by yourself, but then you're working for yourself. But
Right.
if you build a real business, you know, like you said, it can stand on its own. It actually has value to sell in
Yes.
the end. It's not just one accountant who then he can't do the books anymore because he's gone.
Well, and I watched so many in digital marketing agencies and ad agencies and things. I watched so many businesses where, you know, the principals, like the principal strategist or the principal creative person or the founder or the owner would get to kind of the end of their career, and then they would want to sell their business. So they would end up selling to somebody, and then they would go work for them for 2 years to transition. And I just, knowing myself, I just think, gosh, that would be awful. How awful to watch somebody like dismantle your baby or change the direction of it or have a new vision for it. Not that it's bad, but just how horrible to watch it in person. Wouldn't it be so much better to take the check and go on vacation? You know what I mean? And so that's what drove me.
She does. She's done this.
Well, but that's what drove me to build the team. And that's what I keep reminding myself to let go, because I just didn't want the business's future tied to mine that closely.
That's tight.
You know?
Yeah.
And so, and I think the same thing happens in real estate, because when I see like people build real estate businesses with teams, but they build it on their own personal name. So I'll see like such and such homes and it's their name. And I'm like,
and then when they die,
how does it have any value when you are no longer a part of that?
Yeah. And they don't teach their children like how to manage their rentals or whoever the backup person is. Yeah.
Right.
You know, one other thing, when you talk about digital marketing, you know, I'm in the digital marketing business too. And the thing is, what I love is the people on my team, they are 20, 25, you know, they're young because you know what? They know more than I do. And they are up on the trends. And mine are from Europe, even the people that I'm working with. I'm blown away by, you know what? They don't have the fear we do.
Right.
Yeah, they just dive in and do it.
Yeah, they just go do.
Well, and that goes back to kind of the conversation about money.
Yeah.
Like it really does. Is when you have, that is one great thing about having less. When you have less money, you risk more.
Yeah.
You're not trying to sustain something, but and that is one thing that I think as we get older and we have more money and we need to invest it, now all of a sudden we ask ourselves to go back to that 20-year-old that didn't have as much, you know, like that kind of mentality.
Right.
And we're going to now reinvest this and risk this big nugget. And you're like, no, I worked really hard for the nugget. Like, I'm not giving anybody my nugget. Like, this is my gold nugget. I will keep the gold nugget, you know. And really it's just important to really make it grow. Like you have to.
You have to somehow make it grow. Yeah.
And that is where coaching, I think, really steps in, and having a trusted advisor who's also not, that's where I always have an issue, or I'm still struggle with even now, is that financial advisor who's also selling the products that he's, you know, I'm like, I hear you, but I'm like, the little part of my dad is still yelling in the back of my head going, he making all his money after you. And it really, that one involves like the greatest level of trust for me. I'm still growing that muscle by far.
You know what I did?
What'd you do?
I hired a financial planner that takes a fiduciary, a monthly fee. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I just pay the monthly fee because I'm paying for advice.
Yes.
I'm not paying commission. I'm paying for advice. And so I'm specifically paying. And so the one that I hired, I did it for the business.
Yep.
So that the whole team had access to that. And it was seriously an inexpensive, you know, comparatively.
Yeah.
It was not cost prohibitive at all.
And that's similar to what, like, that was a perfect example of, that's very similar to what she's kind of like,
Yeah.
here is this trusted advisor
Yep.
who's, you know, who's
Yep.
able to do those things and help you through that process. And it's unique. Each
Yep.
person is unique, the amount of
Yep.
risk they're willing
And
to
then,
take.
and then I can, when I sit down and talk to them, they're not selling me anything because they're already making money for having the meeting.
Right.
Yes.
So it's not, I don't spend the whole meeting feeling like I'm defending myself against.
Right.
Buying this product
Right,
that they think move your
right.
money out of the SEP to
Because
the
look,
whatever.
expertise is something worth paying for. I firmly believe that. And then, you know,
Yes.
whether it's a coach or an advisor or however a consultant,
Mhm.
expertise is worth paying for.
Yeah.
Professional advice is it should absolutely be compensated.
I believe this. You are going to pay for it one way or another.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
I
get
just
there
want to know that
faster.
I'm paying for it.
You
Yeah.
get there faster if you enroll in
Yeah,
that's
the
just it.
planner.
Yeah.
Do you want to enroll in the Life Teaches You Smackdown? Because that one can be expensive.
Okay.
I've enrolled a few times.
We call it I heard this from a friend who got it from a former boss.
Oh,
the
yeah.
tuition of Life's University.
Oh yes, it is the
Can be
tuition of.
quite expensive.
Oh, we have all paid some fees. Let me
Yes,
tell you.
absolutely.
Whereas, go get the trusted advisor. You know the upfront fee, and there's
Yep.
some accountability. Like,
Yeah,
it
and it's
works
a
out.
you know, and not every professional is going to have every answer, but I just feel like professional advice should be compensated. So people who try to get it for free, I think, are just ridiculous. Because
a
a
good
lot of
try.
people
It's
do
a
try
nice
to get it
try.
for. I mean, people try to get it
Yeah.
from me all the time, from you guys
Yeah.
all the time. Like they all want free advice, or they all want us to work for next to nothing. Or what did you actually do for that money?
Oh, I love
Well,
that
I
line.
learned how to do this, and then I talked to you about it. That's what I actually
And
did.
now
for
you
that
just
money.
helped me learn that
Yeah,
we might not be
that
a
we
good
might not be a
fit.
good fit. So, but I just, but I want to know what I'm paying for. I guess
Yes.
that's what I
Yeah.
mean. Like if
Up
I look
front.
at my receipt from Walgreens or the CVS ones that are 17 miles long, you know,
Yes.
like if I look at my receipt and I see a bunch of stuff I didn't buy, I'm going to take it back. You
Yeah.
know, like I
Yep.
didn't want all of that with this. Like,
Why did I?
you know, the soda was $2.99, but the cashier's attitude was an extra $10. You
Yeah,
know,
like that was a bonus.
that smile was 50 more cents, and I'm not paying for that smile. I
Nope.
don't care.
Leanne, before we let you go, what's an ideal client for you?
Ooh.
Ooh, my ideal client is, you know, here's the thing. To invest in real estate, guess what? You need some money.
Yeah.
Oh, you got to
I
have
do.
the nugget.
Yes, I don't. There is ways. They're not easy, you know, but I don't teach those ways with no money. My people need minimum $50,000 to $100,000 access to it. That doesn't mean it's sitting in the bank.
Right.
Some people don't realize they have access, so I have to show them how or
Yeah.
where that is. They may
Yeah,
have
well-
equity in a house or something,
Yeah.
but they need access to that, or it's not really my ideal client because I can't really help them without some sort of access unless they're willing to move into a house hack. Then I can help them with
Yeah.
Sure.
hardly any money. But that's really the big thing. You need something to really get into real estate investing. Otherwise, you're in a marketing business.
Yeah. You know, it's so funny. The house hack thing, I didn't realize that had a name yet. So when I was growing up, and I'm 42. Am I 42? I'm 42.
You just look.
And so my parents did this before this was a thing. So we moved 15 times before I was done with high school.
They were doing
And
that.
so they were doing that. They absolutely were doing that. We would move into a house. We lived there for a year.
Yep.
They would fix it up a little bit. They would,
Oh.
refinish the cabinets, put in new flooring. They did it slowly as we were living there.
Okay.
And then we would move and invariably sell it for more than we bought it
Yep.
for. And then we would move somewhere else in town and do the same thing. Every single time, you add a bedroom or you do this or they redo the driveway or, whatever.
They just made small
They
improvements.
just made small improvements over time and made the house look really, really nice. And now so when I was 32 or 33, about 10 years ago,
Yeah.
they did one lateral move that was revenue neutral and they had no mortgage.
Oh.
And now they're able to, they've got a vacation home now that they were able to get into. They got, they bought some land to buy a house on. They're starting a new business in retirement. Like they're doing all of these things. And it was all enabled by this. Cause I was born, they were 20 when I was born. They were in college.
Did you know that this was their goal?
But they didn't know that this was their goal.
Oh, fine.
They had no idea what they were doing. They were just doing it, right? Like they just wanted to like get better.
They were building wealth. They were building
were building wealth, and they had no idea what they were doing.
And here's the thing. I talk to people like that. They might owe 10 houses by the time they meet me, but what they don't know is I can actually turn up the velocity of the money they're making, because I know from building my own $14 million portfolio, I know some things that can quicken it. Like had your parents have kept some of those,
right,
that would have been passive income.
That would have been passive income, and they talked about it.
Considering you were living in the same town.
Yeah.
I kept thinking when she says I moved 15 times, I'm like, oh, all the town. No,
all in one town.
All in one town. And I'm like,
house to house.
Yep, house to house in one town. And then, when I was in high school, they downsized, like the house got smaller, like the houses just got bigger and bigger. And then when I was in high school, we were there less, the houses got smaller. I went to college, the house got smaller. Like, it really adjusted. But it's been a lifetime of that. And there's some things that they learn the hard way, like you're never going to get your money out of a basement remodel, but you will out of a kitchen.
Oh yeah.
They learn this stuff the hard way. And it sounds like those are the things that you can just teach people.
That's what I just teach real quick. Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't have to pay that university fee. That unknowing we signed up.
University
life
fee.
University
fee.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Leanne. This has been an absolute joy. Really appreciate chatting with you. And thank you to everybody who listened in. And If These Heels Can Talk, we really appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your time. And thank you, Leanne.
You're welcome. It was a pleasure to be with you.